Was hit by a gigantic tsunami which destroyed the lives of thousands and crippled the Fukushima nuclear plant. In the aftermath, the Japanese government decided to stop all of the country's 48 nuclear reactors. The country's Prime Minister, Shinzo Abe, has made it clear he wants to reopen them, saying once again to the Japanese Senate on Monday. But many Japanese citizens have grown weary of the nuclear industry, whilst others are pushing newer renewable energy sources. Well, France 24's Marie Linton and Curtis have this report.
With its crowded streets and big bright screens, Tokyo is still the electric city, despite the fact that the country's 48 nuclear reactors remain offline. Now, some are wondering if a return to nuclear energy is even really necessary.
Nuclear energy is not needed. We have sufficient electricity and we can live our lives without it. Today we want to say that we can get by if we develop clean, renewable sources of energy.
A recent Tokyo Shimbun survey found 65% of Japanese people want to give up nuclear energy. On the 3-year anniversary of the Fukushima disaster, 30,000 people gathered around the Japanese parliament. Even over the rock music, the message was loud and clear: no restart of the nuclear plants. Squaring off against the protesters is Japan's conservative Prime Minister, Shinzo Abe, who wants to restart the plants as soon as possible. In an energy strategy made public last month, he presents nuclear facilities as a key energy source for Japan's future, citing the rise in fossil fuel prices that makes running conventional thermal plants more and more expensive.
Without the roughly 27 to 30% nuclear power generation as a percentage of the total electricity, the need in the short to medium term to import high-priced and ever-rising fossil fuels was creating economic problems. And finally, without the nuclear power plants meeting the obligations of the Kyoto Protocol in terms of reductions in CO2 emissions was going to be ever more difficult.
To reduce those CO2 emissions, the government is also investing in renewable energies. Here is the centerpiece of Japan's renewable energy strategy: a floating 2-megawatt wind turbine, the first in a planned 143-turbine farm. It's just offshore from Fukushima Prefecture, only 50 kilometers away from the damaged nuclear plant, and for many, it symbolizes a new era.
This project is a way for the Fukushima Prefecture to overcome the disaster and to revitalize its local industry. That's why the government funded the project.
But solar and wind energy are struggling to take off in Japan. Despite government incentives, they supply less than 2% of Japan's electricity to date.
Thanks to the feed-in tariff for renewable energies, mega solar projects are being constructed. We've seen an expansion of solar energy, but when you look at the big picture, there has yet to be a big change in the total share of renewable energies.
Few renewable energy sources and total uncertainty concerning the restart of nuclear plants. 3 years after Fukushima, Japan's energy policy is still in limbo.
Special focus report there. A lot more coverage, of course, during the day on France 24. On to sport now. Bayern, Arsenal, Atletico Madrid and Milan, they're all in tonight's Champions League. Here's the sport.